Saving Private Ryan, this is Steven Spielberg's World War II epic. No, not the one where the Japanese bombed California with John Belushi. We don't talk about that one. This is the one, of course, with Tom Hanks as Captain John Miller, who leads his band of brothers, so to speak, on a journey to find Private Ryan, whose three brothers were killed in combat. And orders are given to get the boy out of there, get him back home, because four sons killed, just too much of a devastation, too much in this horrible time of war. Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, I mean, this is a perfect combination, really. I mean, amazing that they hadn't done a movie together at this point. Truly a fantastic combination. I mean, Steven Spielberg, one of the best directors, Tom Hanks, one of the best actors. Definitely they are at full form here. Definitely great work. Steven Spielberg won Best Director, Academy Award, and Tom Hanks was nominated for Best Actor. The movie didn't win. The movie itself did not win. It lost to Shakespeare in Love. Yeah. Let's not talk about that. Anyway, it's a great movie. Of course, I mean, definitely one of the things that stands out is the opening, one of the opening scenes after like the little framing device with, spoiler alert, Private Ryan at the military cemetery, looking on all the crosses of the men and women who have died in World War II in action. Now, what kind of makes it stand out is because it is really, I mean, it's tough. It's tough to watch that opening scene. D-Day raiding the Normandy beach. It's very hyper realistic. The camera's shaking. It does almost sort of feel documentary like, but sort of like like a kind of, it has kind of a feel of one of the rousing World War II good old boys kind of movies, but it has this hyper realism to it, where the struggle is indeed real. The characters do feel real, and it very much allows you to invest in the characters in a very deep and meaningful way, I think. It is respectful, though it does show the insanity of combat, and the unflinching realism with the explosions and the blood and the lost limbs. It's quite nightmarish and terrifying. But that opening scene, I think, is important because it does establish that this isn't this isn't your dad's World War II movie. This is a gritty. This is a very, again, unflinching look at combat, and it very much establishes what these characters, with Captain Miller's group, which include Tom Sizemore, Edward Burns, Adam Goldberg, and a few others. Sorry, I'm not going to list them all, but basically, Barry Pepper. I got to mention Barry Pepper as the sniper. He's fucking awesome in this movie. But basically, because you see this horrible battle in the first scene of the movie, you can kind of see why they don't believe that they're being given orders to do a mission like that, to save one kid during this whole thing, put all their lives at risk to find him. What, so his mommy doesn't feel too bad because four sons died? I mean, it's ridiculous when they think about it. But as their journey continues, tensions rise, and they're mad at their superiors, but they kind of conflict within each other and kind of very, very heatedly debate what this mission means to them and what a risk it is and what an unnecessary risk it may be, until it does kind of reach its absolution. And kind of they do realize, through the risks that they take and through the hardships that they endure, that saving this person, it does kind of symbolize hope, and that's kind of what they find. If they can bring this one person home, thousands, hundreds of thousands are going to die. But if they can bring this one guy home, it means they've done something good. As Hanks's character says, every person I kill, I feel farther away from home. And that kind of really stays with you, and the drive of the character, and really makes you understand. And it is a beautiful movie, and a very respectful movie for people who have served in combat and died in combat. There definitely are moments where it does kind of almost go too much over the top, like too much emotion, too much melodrama, like particularly at the end. where Private Ryan is at the cemetery, and he's, getting very emotional and saying, "Have I been a good man?" But the movie earns it. It absolutely earns it, and that's what Hanks's character says. Earn this. That's a powerful, powerful moment. I think earn this. It's so great. And the movie does earn it through its characters. I mean, if you didn't give a shit about these characters in this movie, the movie simply wouldn't work. But because we're experiencing this journey with them, and we're getting to know them as people, not just as soldiers, but as actual people, they feel very real. And the emotional impact of the movie definitely isn't affected by that. So even if it does kind of go a little bit over, I think it's still very respectful and still very effective from like an entertainment, from a moving standpoint, basically. I mean, definitely in the final scenes where they do make the last stand, there are some devastating, devastating scenes. Where characters that we've come to love, basically, they do meet their demise. In case you haven't seen, I don't want to give away exactly who, but there's one character, one very hard to watch scene where he's getting stabbed, and it's just such a I don't want to talk. I don't think about it. It's just so horrible. But yeah, I mean, basically, from a technical standpoint, this movie is top notch. Great effects used to tell the story effectively, to create realistic battle scenes, to really put you in there with the action. The cinematography, Janusz Kaminski, I believe, did incredible work, and it gives it kind of like a an older, saturated feel of, like, the war times, but definitely kind of like the gritty, shaky camera kind of thing. Back when seeing, like, the shaky camera to kind of bring home the action felt like it was done for a purpose, not for, just for the sake of doing it. Like, you'll see a shaky cam in every single movie, which is ridiculous, but I think this movie uses it to great effect, and not in every goddamn scene, too, but just in the scenes where it's absolutely necessary. So yeah, I think it's fantastic. Hanks is great. Matt Damon is great as Saving Private Ryan. I mean, as Private Ryan. Tom Sizemore, I love Tom Sizemore. Edward Burns again. Barry Pepper again. His character is great. I won't talk about one scene with this because it kind of gives something away. But okay, earmuffs for a second. Earmuffs for 10 seconds. In his last scene, when he dies, he goes out like a fucking badass, which is awesome. Okay, earmuffs off. So yeah, and great cameos along the way. I mean, there's a smaller role from Vin Diesel, which is pretty cool, and in one of his first movies. Paul Giamatti shows up, Bryan Cranston, Ted Danson. Every time I watch this movie, I'm like, I always forget. Like, once Ted Danson shows up, I'm like, oh yeah, Ted Danson, cool. And Nathan Fillion, actually, in one of his earlier roles, he plays kind of like the mistaken Private Ryan, basically, which I always think is funny, because they're like, my brothers are dead, they're still in boarding school, or whatever, or still in grammar school. I love that. So it's a fantastic movie. This may have not won Best Picture, but I think, it's the best picture in our hearts, I guess. Probably the reason why it didn't win, probably since Titanic had won the previous year, I don't think they wanted to give, like, the big epic movie another Oscar, so they went with something a little smaller with Shakespeare in Love. But Shakespeare in Love compared to this movie, I mean, there's no comparison. This is so much better. This is a great film. I love it. It's a very emotionally effective film. One of Spielberg's best, which is saying a lot, because he's done great movie after great movie after great movie, and same to say with Hanks as well, one of his best. So definitely, if you happen to have not seen this, please give this movie a look. It's an absolute treasure of a movie, and a respectful love letter, basically, to the men and women who fought in World War II and put their lives on the line, which, it's really something that inspires reflection, I think, in what they fought for, and what we owe to them as veterans. So yeah, so before I get a little too emotional, thank you for watching the review. More to come. Comment, rate, subscribe, whatever. Thanks for watching. Saving Private Ryan, great movie, classic.